Hello, Brother Sewing and Crafting family. Brother Brand Ambassador Angela Wolf here. How's it going? Welcome to a new week. So I hope you had a great Valentine's weekend. We had Galentine's Day, which if you missed that show last week was last Tuesday. So much fun, but I have a funny one for you. So I don't know where, when to find this, but the Valentine's card, can you guess what was on it? You saw that I made his with the Avenir, and thanks to some friends of mine, they put some chocolate in there for him. But guess what he found on mine? Yeah, a furry squirrel. It wasn't real, but it was faux fur. I think he went to 5 different stores to find that. So you got to feel the love on that one. So happy Valentine's Day. All right, welcome everyone. We are live today, and we have one of your favorite educators coming on, Kathy Stipe. I would love to know, because I know we have a ton of new viewers here, have you watched any of her past shows when she did the recipes? And we're not talking about the kitchen. So I can see a few of you. I know that you saw those. She used to come up with, not used to, still does, but you can go back and watch the replays with the coolest, what we call recipes for my design center. So yeah, I'm watching the comments. You all are saying yes, 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 and yes. And Kathy has some fun stuff. So without further ado, Kathy, how are you?
I'm doing well today. How are you?
I'm doing great. And we're just talking about your famous recipes.
I heard. So, my design center is my little sandbox that I like to play in. And we'll get into some of that today too. But yeah, it's fun to just combine some of the different pattern fills in my design center and create totally new looking pattern fills. So,
I love it. I love it. Speaking of recipes, Susie, I have to tell you, you gave us some cookies last week. They were delicious. I don't know if you made them or bought them, but they were divine. Speaking of recipes. All right, Kathy, I gave them a little hint what you're going to be showing today, but you're showing so much more than I even wrote in the title. Why don't you give them a little preview?
well, one of the things that I'm showing today is this cute little table runner. It has some edge to edge quilting on it. Maybe you can see better from this side. But I had to buy it because I had to buy this fabric and then I had to come up with something for that fabric. So this is an edge to edge design that is built into my Avenir, but it's not one of the ones that the machine calculates the pieces, the size of the pieces and the number of pieces. This is just one of the ones that you would use your camera and your projector and do the alignment that way. So let me show you how I did that.
And I'm so excited you're showing this because with the new Avenir coming out, there's been a lot of questions. Just recently, can I put in my own custom fills? And we're talking about fills. And then they said edge to edge. And I always get confused with the fills and the edge to edge. So the edge to edge, you're going to show this where you can design your own is going to be so much fun. So those of you that asked last week, make sure you take a notebook out and you can watch the replay too when we're finished. So thanks, Kathy.
So this is one of the designs that is built into the quilting category. So let me switch my camera and we'll get to my machine's screen.
While she's switching her camera, we just lost her for a sec. So as soon as she comes back on, I'll bring her back up. And there's the screen. All right. So again, we are live today. So keep your comments and questions coming. There you go, Kathy.
Okay. So on your Avenir, you have in your first category, I love how they have labeled all the different and grouped all the different types of designs. You've got quilting, applique, botanical, animals, letters, decorations, seasons, and so forth and so on. This one is in the quilting category. Excuse me, I've got allergies here in Florida. So, in the quilting category, there was this really cute design that was little Easter rabbits and Easter eggs and Easter chicks. And I thought that would be so cute to quilt with. But like I said, this is one of those that you have to figure out the measurements yourself. So for my piece, I knew that it was only like 15 1/4 inches tall, the area that I wanted to quilt in. So once I set my design, I can go into edit and I can resize it with stitch recalculation. I'm going to make it a little bit shorter. The width on it is 10 1/2. I really, even though I'm using my 18 1/4 by 11 5/8 inch hoop, I really don't want to make it any wider because I want to give myself a little wiggle room in order to be able to get it straight. So I've already stitched the first repeat. But what I want you to see is I usually put a line down the center, and that helps me as a guideline. And when I rehoop, I want to make sure that where the ending stitch is at is within the embroidery field. That's why I give myself that little extra wiggle room from side to side. So I'm going to stick this on my machine really quickly, and I'm going to show you how I go about getting things aligned. So you know with the Avenir, we have an 8 by 5 inch projection area. So I can always turn my projector on. And what I usually will do is I'll take and move that projected area without trying to not move the design, but I moved my design. So I'm going to just go ahead and slide my projector all the way over to the side. And then I'm going to get my design centered again. You can't see it probably on my machine bed, but we'll try. So let me just change my camera angle. Here is my starting point right here. So I'm trying to move my design so that it aligns with that point. And what I did for my particular runner is I measured the length of it, and that's how I decided how many repeats I would actually need. And it was a little over 30 inches in the center where I was going to do my quilting. And so that's how one of the reasons why I decided I would just leave it at the 10 1/2 inches wide.
And Kathy, I know that everybody can't, when we're looking at with the projector, it's a very large, bright area. So it's hard to see on camera for a live, but what she's projecting there is just like we've had on the Avenir, but larger, the design that she has on her screen. So you just have to imagine what you saw on the screen is going there.
It's projected right down here on the bed of my machine, and it's, I mean, you can kind of see where it's the area on my hand a little bit better as I move my hand. I know you can't see the actual thing, but once I get it to where I think it might be, or it might need to be, I can also use some other tools. And this would be, I'm going back to my screen. So this is before I get to embroidery. Or actually it is in the embroidery screen. But this little needle with the plus inside the square, this is the start of the left-hand side of my design. You can see this little set of 9-point directional boxes. So that's where I can check where it's going to start out over on the left-hand side. But there's another tool that's forgotten a lot since we have the projector, and that's this little W plus up in the upper left-hand corner of your screen, where it will project a crosshair down on the bed, right where your needle drop is going to be. And I use that quite often because while that's still projected, I can still fine tune where this is going to start stitching from. Another thing I like to do is just kind of use my needle up and down button as well. But now I can change that to the right-hand side. And this is where I can tell if I need to rotate it a little bit. And I know you can't see it, so I won't even change the screen. But I know that I need to rotate that design just a hair. So let me double check again my starting point. And I'm going to close that out. And I'm going to go ahead and start stitching. I probably won't stitch the whole design, but at least you can see where I started.
Yeah, Julie, I agree. Laser point positioning from the Stellaire is awesome as well. So, you know, while Kathy's showing this, I want to point something out. You saw her move the projector on the screen. You can also move the projector using your stylus on the fabric. So there's two different ways to move that projector now, which is different than the luminaire. Just wanted to point that out.
And next time, whenever I try to do my camera setup, I'll try and get it so that you can actually see what is projected on the bed of my machine. I need a new tripod to get it up a little bit higher. But anyway, I went ahead and started this and stitched just a little bit. But there's
just a little blurry. So I think I'm going to take you out and bring you back in, Kathy. Just hold on one sec. Sometimes that helps, that little blurriness. There we go. Let's see if that's better. Yeah, that's better.
So you can see I was pretty close. I mean, I'm not dead on, but I was pretty close. And that's from sitting at an angle, you know, trying to get things aligned. But that's one of the things that I really like about this. I'm going to see if I can find where there was a connection point on the real one. Let me go back to my other camera.
There you are. Great.
Okay, so my connection point is right here, right where my finger is at. You can see just like one stitch over. See that little?
Wow. Perfect. Yeah.
So when you're sitting right in front of the machine, it's much easier to get things aligned. But because of this cute little fabric that I used on the border, I cut out some little shapes, that same shape, and they're just raw edge appliques that I just put on and stitched my quilting over it. So if you do an internet search, you can find all kinds of coloring pages, And I did find a coloring page for that shape.
Oh, that's perfect.
So my design center is where I scanned that in, going back to the home screen on my machine. And we will change back to my other camera.
Just flipping. If you guys have questions, just drop them in the chat and we will try to answer them when we can.
So one thing that I have found is that when I'm using my scanning frame and trying to scan something in my design center, sometimes it comes out better than others. And a lot of it has to do with the lighting in the room. So we're going to try it today, going into my design center. And I have this little leaf icon here. And I want to scan a line design. And I'm not bringing it in via a USB. I'm just going to scan using the scanning frame. So we'll switch my camera over so you can see that it's going to start scanning. And it takes it a minute, and then it comes up on the screen. Because we have such a large projection area, the left-hand side of my machine now is a little bit wider than my luminaire. So this last scan, it kind of looks like it's off the scanning frame, but it's actually capturing that right-hand side of what is on the scanning frame. And then you'll see that it comes up on my machine screen. And this is where I can go in and I can crop out my magnets that I've used for holding. Sometimes my fingers want to work. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes I can get the stylus to work. Sometimes not. So it's just a matter of cropping out all the excess. And I'm going to leave that there. There's still part of the magnet down in the bottom, but that's okay because I have tools to get rid of that. So I'm going to go ahead and set it. Then I can use my eraser tool, and you have magnification. So let's blow it up so we can really see it. And I'm going to pan over to where that is at and use my eraser and just get rid of that line. I actually went in and cleaned up the artwork just a little bit. But basically what I did to get a cut file, I just made it a running stitch design. Come on, change color. Okay, I see what my problem was, is this is a broken line. So why don't I just go back to my design center and I will pull the one out of the pocket that I had already saved and cleaned up. So you can see that I've sized it. And I'm just going to create an embroidery design from this. It's just a running stitch, so I'm just going to set it and take it to my embroidery screen. Under Edit and my applique shield, because I have my connection set up with my Avenir and my Scan and Cut 325, I have this extra symbol that says applique patch for selected colors. And that's what I want. I just choose the color, go to next. I don't want a zigzag or a satin stitch around it. I want it off, but I just want it to be an applique. And you can kind of see that. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit closer. See how I have the checkered fabric, so to speak? That is giving me an indication of what I'm turning into an applique. I say next, I say okay. And once I go to embroidery, if I touch the memory pocket down in the lower right-hand corner, you'll see that I have this extra little icon down here as well that looks like a scan and cut. So if I touch that, it's asking me if I want to replace the existing data that's floating around in space. And I say yes or okay. And now it has sent it to my scan and cut. So let's see if we can go to my scan and cut. Oops, it went to sleep. So at scan and cut, if I'm getting data from my machine to my scan and cut, I need to go into the My Connection area. And it's asking me, what do I want? Do I want to send data from the scan and cut, or do I want to retrieve? And I want to retrieve data from my wireless LAN device, which is my machine. So it's retrieving my little bunny. And I know that this screen, you cannot see it, but my bunny is there. So if I touch the shield, then I've got it right here. And that's what I want to cut. So I say, okay. I can set that. And instead of cutting it out of fabric, I just put a piece of cardstock on my mat, but you can see some extra ones that I have already cut out of fabric that didn't make it on my table runner. So I've got all these little extras that I can use for additional appliques. But let's cut it. So let's go down here, and all I'm going to do is press OK, tell it I want it to cut. And I'm going to hit start. Hopefully I did not have half cut setting on. I did not check that, but you know, we'll find out. We'll find out.
Kathy, quick question. Do you have any backing on that fabric that you have there?
I have a double-sided fusible web on it.
Okay.
So that's why I was able to do the raw edge applique.
Perfect. Hey, Phyllis, she is using the Avenir, which is the sewing embroidery machine you see her using, and she's also using the SDX 325 scan and cut. So, and then there was also my connection in there. So all of those have been running around.
So it's finished cutting. So now let me unload my mat and see. Oh, I did not have half cut on. It cut just perfect. So that would be in place of, I just cut it out of paper for today. So instead of cutting it out of fabric, it was easy for me just to grab a piece of cardstock and put on there. But it would be the same thing if I were cutting it out of fabric. I would just use a different mat. So
that makes sense. Thanks.
All right, so I'm going to go back to my other camera, and I have another project for you if you don't want to make a table runner. I like to decorate for the holidays, mainly because they have grandchildren and they think grandma's house needs to be decorated. But I get tired of making and storing a table runner, wall hanging, whatever, for all the different holidays. So this is something that is wildly popular right now, where people are making banners and then they're replacing like the O of home with something for each holiday. So right now I have buttonholes and I just have ribbon strung through it. I made a separate one with no letter, and it has just hook and loop tape on there, hook and loop tape on the back, so that I can put this on, and then there you just replace the little patch. So patches right now are very popular. So I've got the patch with the Easter eggs. This design came from my Artspira app. This little rabbit was the same shape that I had scanned in. I just added a satin edge around it. These are just stitched on felt. But there are so many other things that you can use. I like to play with all the tools or toys in my sewing area, whether it's my scan and cut, whether it's my embroidery machines, or even my sublimation printer. So I purchased this design and I'm going to replace this in the summer. So when we're out by the pool, then I've got one for 4th of July that
I want
I
one of
did.
those, Kathy. I want one of those.
The pool ones, yeah, those are nice, but we host 4th of July, so I will probably hang this maybe outside for 4th of July. Who knows? I made one. This is just that faux leather or vinyl. And again, I put hook and loop tape on the back of it so that I can just stick it there to replace what would normally be the O. This 4-leaf clover is also a cutting design from my Artspira app. It was a page of 9 4-leaf clovers. And because I wanted the back finished, I deleted all but one, and then that one, or actually I deleted all but 2, and one of them I mirror image so that I could just glue it onto the back so that it would have sort of a finished look to it. But I'm thinking that just anything. I found this little guy in my scan and cut in one of the drawers. It was a acorn that I had cut for the fall, and I don't even remember what I cut it for, but I thought, well, I'll just add hook and loop tape to the back of it. Then I'm already ahead of the game for when fall arrives. Now I just have a few more holidays that I have to fill in between. But this font that I used, it is so cool looking. I love this font. It's one of the new ones that's built into the Avenir. And so I thought, well, what if you don't have time to stitch out all of these little banner pieces and add the quilting and all of that with it? I could do the same thing with my scan and cut and adhesive vinyl by creating a cut file, just like I showed you with the little rabbit cutout, just making an outline. But with the letters, it's a little bit different. So let's go back to my machine screen and we'll show that one again. I'm going to go back to the home, cancel out of that. So under embroidery, let's see if I can zoom in just a hair. I have my large font category 3. And so I chose the letter H. I left it at the default size, which is 4.74 inches tall by 4.61 inches wide. And again, under edit, if you touch the applique shield, you get applique patch for selected colors. Well, I know I want the blue outline of the letter to be my outline, I guess. I don't want any kind of satin stitch around it. And again, you can see that it is filled in. Let's see if we can you see the gray and white that would represent fabric? I'm just going to say,
sure can.
And I'm going to say okay again. And then once I'm in embroidery, again, I'll go to that little pocket and to my scan and cut machine, and I'll replace the data. And we can go back to scan and cut screen. I have to go back into my connection. And again, I want to retrieve from my wireless LAN device and it's retrieving. And there it is. You can see my big H. And that's what I want to cut. So once I set that, then my letter is up here on my screen, and I can cut that out of whatever I want to cut it out of, whether it be fabric, whether it be adhesive vinyl, or, just whatever you want. So I will show you what I did with that. Let's see. At your hobby stores, they have wooden
blanks. Just for 1 second, Kathy, but you're back. So I'm just making sure you're back. Yep, you're good. Okay, back to you.
Okay, so at your hobby stores, they have, oops, I'm losing it. It's falling apart or sliding. It just gets too long.
That's so cute.
So that was my embroidered letter, but I cut it out of just regular craft adhesive vinyl. So there it is out of vinyl. And let's see, we'll get one out of, so you can compare. Okay, there's stitched.
Oh, yeah.
And there's vinyl. So, I mean, it's the same letter, just a different medium. So even though it was an embroidery design, it did not matter. I could still cut it out of vinyl. Here's that same clover. I just cut it out of a sort of a glittery adhesive vinyl and stuck it to an extra one of these little round blanks.
What an easy way, Kathy, I was thinking of this. What a super easy way to coordinate all of your decorations. So you could make smaller ones and put it on the table. Then you can have your banner. I mean, this is so simple by using the scan and cut and the embroidery machine. This is brilliant.
And making patches and hook and loop tape. Who doesn't love that stuff? So, whoops. Maybe I should put it right side up. But see, I can even stick that to my little wooden disc. So, I mean, I made two different types of banners out of two different types of materials, but all of my little patches and everything that I have created can work for either one. So here's a close up of that little rabbit. I did actually go in and draw him a couple of eyes. So, and I don't know if you can see the satin stitch along the outside edge. So that's how you can make a patch. I mean, it's just, patches are easy.
Simple.
So any design that you have
So
built into your machine, you can make a patch with. So I'll show you with a built-in design on my machine. Let me go back to machine screen. We're going to cancel out of that and go back home. So let's say we wanted to make a patch out of a Disney design. I can do that as well. I'm a big Winnie the Pooh fan. Let's see if I can find one that's not quite so big. There he is, 3.05. So I'm going to set it, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so maybe you can see it a little bit better. But under edit, this time I'm going to just do applique patch normal. And you see how it, see if we can you see how it's added that extra satin stitch around the outside edge? So I can say,
we sure can.
So that's how I just make a regular patch. Now you can see it now that I've got it. Let's blow it up to 200%. So that's how I made the patch of the little straight stitched bunny and added the satin edge. But again, once I go to embroidery, oh, this one's not going to let me because it's Disney. I can't send the applique position cut file because it's Disney. I can't send that to my machine, but any regular design, I would be able to send the cut file, which is what I did with the little bunny rabbit, so that it would cut my felt to the right shape for me. So no more trimming with scissors. So patches are easy. They're something that's wildly popular right now. Everybody is wanting patches for everything, which for me, I mean, it's easier for me to make a patch than I don't have to worry about if I mess up somebody's garment. But let's just grab a regular embroidery design. I'm going to go over here to food because in the food is this really cute ice cream cone. Let's blow him up so you can see him a little bit better as well. So once I set him, again, I can make just a regular applique patch for him. And then I could send that to scan and cut so that it would cut out my my felt piece for me, or fabric piece that I wanted to make my patch out of. So I know people are using twill fabric, so you could cut that, pre-cut it. And again, if you wanted to have the back finished, like I have the back of this one finished so that it covered all my stitching, all you have to do is make a duplicate of it and then mirror image it, and so you've got it in the right orientation to put on the back. So today was about making patches in a home dec item that I don't have to, I guess, reinvent the wheel every single holiday. I can just, coming back to me.
Yeah, this was so much fun, and there are a ton of questions for you, Kathy. So
Okay.
let's hit a few of them. Let's see. Yeah, everybody's saying this is so much fun. So Danita, hey, great to see you, by the way. Can you do these patches on the still air the same way?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're still
And
there.
I also, oh, go ahead.
My connection also works with Stellaire. So it works with Stellaire, Luminaire, and the Avenir. So you just have to have one of the 325 or either the 330 SDX model scan and cuts. And you can set it up.
Definitely true. So then, and also, if you don't have a scan and cut, you can still do everything she showed you. You just cut around. Well, not everything. You can't send it to your scan and cut. But if you don't have a scan and cut and you're turning it into an applique, you can still trim around the applique just like in, I always say the old days, but it's not really that old. And as you saw for Disney, you can't send it over. So I did a really cute princess for my nieces, and I just trimmed around. I mean, it works just as fine. So if you don't have a scan and cut, you can still do this. If you have the scan and cut, you need those two newer versions so you can use my connection to go back and forth. So while we're talking about the scan and cut, and I can't remember if it was Julie, let me just scroll up here. There were so many comments. Okay, so Jane, by the way, do you leave paper on the back? I wasn't sure which project you're referring to. So if you want to leave more details on that, we'll make sure that we
probably on the fabric where I use the double-sided fusible.
Probably.
I don't most of the time. This particular time I did because I didn't want them to be sticky and sticking to each other. So I did.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. And then there was one more up here that we missed. Oh, yeah. So, and you kind of could see it on the scan and cut. She's saying, can you scan with the scan and cut and send it to the machine? Does it work exactly the same, or give a few details about that?
So the only thing that you can send from the machine or from scan and cut to your embroidery machine via my connection are the designs that are built into the machine. Okay. So I cannot take a paper pattern, scan it into scan and cut, and then send it to my design center to create a cut file. I mean, a applique file or stitch file. Does that answer the question?
I think it does. If it doesn't, just leave another comment and I'll watch for your. Sandra says cute bunnies. I know. Everybody's saying there's not enough time in the day. There's so much crafting to do. I agree. And yes, you can make patches. Here's one. Jane is back here. When you cut on the scan and cut, do you leave the paper on or cut or remove? I think that answered your question, Jane, what she just said.
Most of the time I take it off. This particular time I happen to leave it on.
These are such fun projects. I love the idea, though. This even opens up more of using that hook and loop tape and changing the symbols or changing, the season or changing the holiday. Somebody's saying this would be great for a birthday party where you can change the name, like have a great birthday section. This is so fun. And also super, super easy using all the tools of the trade. Super easy.
So I have a question for everyone because it was a thought this morning. Right now I have strung through just this tulle that I'm using for a ribbon. But I'm thinking that if I took a wider, like grosgrain ribbon and put buttons on it, that I could then, because I did stitch buttonholes in the tops of these, then I could just button them along the ribbon. If it's non-holiday, I can leave the O attached. If it is a holiday, I just unbutton the O and button the blank with whatever I've decided to decorate with. So what do you think about that? Should I just attach buttons and make it easy on myself and not have to rethread all of this to change them out? What would you do?
Anything easy, I'm all about, but I have to say, sewing buttons, if I get to sew buttonholes on the new Avenir, I'm all over it. If I'm allowed to embroider buttonholes on any of the Brother machines, I'm all over it. I think I'd make it easy with the buttons, but I don't know. Let's take a vote with everyone. And while you are all voting, buttons or ribbon? Everyone said I love the button idea. I like the button idea.
Because my machine, I can sew buttons on with my machine. So it's not like I'm having to do that, ugly 4-letter word hand stitch. Just my thought.
Okay, Julie wants to know, okay, when it comes to Disney, and yes, when the Disney designs that are built into some of the Brother machines, you cannot edit them many ways. What happens, the whole screen will just gray out for what you can use. But she said, can you make a stamp of the Disney design and send that to Scan and Cut, or is that out too?
I would have to try it. I don't think I've ever done it because, Disney is Disney and we're not supposed to do anything with it other than its intended purpose.
Yeah, and Kathy, since your machine's right there, do you mind showing, since this is the new Avenir, a lot of people are like, I want to see this. This is so gorgeous. Is it the Luminaire? No, it's not. And don't worry, guys, we have a ton of tutorials coming on. And if you have your Avenir, don't forget to register it on Brother's site to get access to the masterclass. But show them the screen, and when you go to Disney and then you go to edit, how it grays out what you're not allowed to use. So you can't accidentally do something, and it's not going to let you do something that you can't do.
All right, let me change my camera.
Everyone's saying buttons, buttons, buttons. All right, we got you.
Okay, so I'm going to just go back home. So what'd you say? Go to Disney.
Yeah, choose a Disney design.
Okay.
I'm always like giving you more things to do. Just any Disney design, turn it into embroidery or click set. And so everyone can see there, look at all the different colors. It's so simple. I love the screen, but when she clicks on edit, notice everything that's grayed out.
I cannot resize. I cannot group it. I can make a custom shape out of it though.
Oh, and send it to my design center.
Yeah.
So
I have done that before because watch. This was not on the agenda and it's not home deck, but we're going to play anyway. So I've gone into my fonts.
Yay.
And I don't know if you can see it. You probably can't, but right up here it says show preview. And I have that checked. So I'm going to grab just a letter or a font, and it brings up a whole screen. It shows me every single character that font has before I ever type out my word. So with having Kathy, K sometimes look really weird. Stipe, sometimes the S's are weird. But in this case, I just want an I. And I am going to move that. Well, I have to set it first. Whoops, I hit too soon. I'm going to go to edit. And with the I selected, I'm going to move that kind of up here. And I'm actually going to resize it and make it long. Let's bring it back down so it touches that the ears, Pluto's ears. Now I'm going to use that, cancel. Put everything together. Now I'm going to make that custom shape and make it be a little bit further distance away. Do you know what
Oh, I love.
do you know what I'm making?
We'll let everybody guess. I was gonna say you're making a hang tag or an ornament, but that's my guess.
So you are exactly right. I am making a hang tag. I don't need the letter I anymore. So I am just going to delete it. Then I can go to add, go to my design center, and I think I saved it as a custom shape. Oops, I did it. I just made it bigger. I forgot to save it, but you would save it as a custom shape. I mean, it's one of those things where I think I just walked in front of the screen. I was going to get something.
That's all right. Cute outfit you're wearing. You're good.
I guess it's not on my computer bag, but I've made little hang tags, little key fobs, hang tags, whatever you want to, bag tags, whatever you
Oh,
want to call them, with Disney designs by just adding an uppercase I above my design and then
yeah.
make a custom shape around the outside edge of all of it.
Super,
So,
super easy. You're right, Julie. You never know what rabbit hole we're going to go down, but I get so excited about all the different features on the machine. So, and a lot of things we're showing you could be done on the Still Air or the Luminaire. It's in my design center, but the Avenir is just really an awesome machine. And since it's brand new, we're featuring that. Um, so yes, you can make an outline. And like Patty said, there's got to be a workaround. Well, there is. Send it to my design center. And then I love the idea of the hang tags though. That would really be that'd be a great gift too, like on top of birthday gifts or any gift.
I mean, I have a sister that loves Tinkerbell, so I could always do a Tinkerbell, like key fob tag or whatever. And like you said, use it to either put on a gift or make it the whole gift.
Yeah, great idea. This was such an awesome show. And yes, we did go down a rabbit hole. And Julie says, I love it. It's fun. And
Oh, well.
the best part is we're live because you never know what might just happen, right? So I did a vote. I don't even see one that wasn't a button idea. So you're good with the buttons on your
So maybe after I get it done, I'll come back to the post and I'll put a picture up or something.
We would love that. We would love that. So speaking of live shows, everyone, don't forget you can go to angelawolf.com, click on events, and I'm trying to keep up with the future live shows. We started this last year. And then if you quickly want to go back and say you want to go back and check out Kathy's, you can type in her name and it'll take you back to her episodes. So just an extra way to stay organized. But don't forget, if you're on Brother YouTube, be sure to subscribe. And someone had said, I want to go back and watch the live shows. Well, on YouTube, don't forget when you go to YouTube, at the top, it'll say live. So there's like maybe 3 headings, go to live, and then you'll come across all 400, actually 500 and something replays. So for a lot of different machines and a lot of fun things.
And also the recipes, if I remember correctly, were in December.
Yes.
I don't remember. It was during COVID lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was December of 2020.
I think it was because we did live shows almost every single day. And then through the holidays, we did a recap. So I don't know what number that would be as far as the numbers, but if you look at dates, go back. I think they even started in November of 2020. So go back there. And those were so much fun. Everybody said they were making their own recipe books.
It's fun. I have to start playing with some of the new ones that are built into the Avenir. There's one that to me, it looks like diagonal lines. That's a pattern fill in my design center. And the first thing that I thought about when I saw that was the chenille. You remember how we had stitched those parallel lines and then chenille fabric?
Oh, yes.
That's on my playlist this week.
Oh, you must share. because that would be so cool and easy to do.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking, like a hot pad for the table, put a little design in the center and then chenille around it. Wouldn't that be cool?
Fun ideas, fun ideas. Well, you got to share photos so we can see. Everybody's saying, yes, love the chenille show. All right. Well, Kathy, thank you. This has been an awesome show. So much info. Oh, everyone's like, when's Kathy coming on next? I don't have this calendar in front of me. Do you have a date yet?
I don't. They haven't sent out the second quarter. So we should be getting it next month sometime. A calendar for the second quarter of the year.
We got so excited about Kathy coming back that the whole internet froze when they thought of you coming back.
So I was saying that we get a calendar for each quarter. This was the only appearance that I have for the first quarter. So probably in March, we'll get a calendar for the second quarter and we'll go from there.
I think everybody's already planning yours. It better include chenille and a couple recipes.
Okay.
Sounds good. Well, everyone, thank you so much for being here. Kathy, thank you for an awesome show. Very inspiring. And, St. Patty's Day is only a month away. And I think with that little 4-leaf clover, I could get a head start on that. I don't know. I'm thinking that would work pretty darn good, right? All right. Till next time, everyone. Happy sewing. Thanks, Kathy.
Thanks.